In this video we're going to look at how we take our data from Excel to Jamovi, and we're going to show you the professional way, the way that statisticians and data analysts should be using, and I'm also going to show you a sort of a quick and dirty way, but really is not for professional use, but works quite well for a student doing tutorials. Anyway, let's look at the first one. So here we've got a data set looking at 2 wheat varieties. We're going to look at this one later when we do t-tests. So here we've got our varieties in a column, Herwood and Consort, that's a factor column, and 3 data columns here. We've got the mean yield in tonnes per hectare of dry matter, we've got grain weight and Hagberg falling number, and we've got lots of indicative text and exploration around it. That's not going to work for a statistics program. We need to tidy this up, and there's 2 things we need to do. First thing, we need to have just the data and the column names available to us, but also these rather complicated column names are not good for coding, they're not good practice, and they need to be abbreviated. They need to be abbreviated, and they also need to have any spaces or the kind of syntax like brackets or this superscript or any question marks or any asterisks or @ signs. These things can go wrong in code. So here I've copied this into a second spreadsheet with abbreviated column names, and you can see it's much tidier. I've turned grain space weight into grain weight. You can put an underscore in there. Underscores work quite well as well, so we could put an underscore in there if we wanted to. And we've got single text strings of less than 10 or 12 characters for what we're going to do. To take this into Jamovi, we're going to save this in an appropriate file format. So in Excel and any other data spreadsheet program like this, we would use something called a comma separated value, a CSV file. So here we go to File, we're going to save a copy, and up here where it says Excel Workbook, we're going to change this into a CSV, the comma delimited CSV file. And I'll save that in the same folder that the existing one is in. The selected file type does not support workbooks that contain multiple sheets. That's not a problem, we just want the worksheet we're looking at to be stored. So if we press OK, we'll have a new folder, a new file with just these data. Let's press OK. Okay, so that's saved that hopefully. Now we can go to Jamovi. And when we start it up, it looks like this. Straight away we're going to go to the hamburgers. I think it's hamburgers. Then we're going to open, and we're going to go to browse, and here we're already at the folder I had open previously. And if we look through here, we can now find our CSV file alongside the Excel file that we had originally. So I'm going to click on the CSV file, press open, and it's brought my data in. There's a number of things to look at first. What we've got here are 4 different data sets. So here, variety, you see we've got the 2 circles and the A, that's stored as text. Let's double click the variety heading and it comes up with our data variable settings. Nominal data, it's a name, and it's got levels, Consort and Herwood. That's good. Later on, if I wanted to, I could, it does it in alphabetical order by default. If I needed to change the order, I can do that. I can move these about, which is about for presenting graphs with the first bar and the second bar, or whatever you wanted to do. We're going to leave it as it is. And it's a text type. Yield, the next one, that's continuous data and it's decimal, that's correct. Grain weight is also continuous and decimal. The Hagberg falling numbers happen to be integers, so we can leave it like that. It doesn't make any difference to any analysis, but you might consider making this a decimal. It doesn't make any difference at this stage. Okay, so that's the data brought in a professional standard, all ready to go. Remember to check your data types though after you've brought it in. The alternative is if we want to just quickly copy it in, it's not like some of the other programs where you can bring the column names in as well. GenStat used to be very nice for that, but in Jamovi you have to do it separately. But there is a bit of a shortcut. It's not perfect, but if we select our data here and we can right click, copy and put that on the clipboard in Windows, and we go to Jamovi here, we can paste the data in here. So right click and paste. But those column names have appeared in row 1, and that's not right. They need to be here where A, B, C and D is, and we need to put those data types into the correct format. Okay, so I like copying the column names across too, because that can remind me what to write above it. So if I click on A and double click it there, it gives me the heading there. So I can actually copy and paste it from there if I wanted to, or I could just type it. And variety is indeed nominal and text. I can move on to the next one by double clicking B, or I can actually just press this one, move over to B, and there's yield. I can copy that up to there, but yield, I need to make that continuous. Notice what happens here. The yield is a text format. When I click continuous, that will disappear. So make sure you do the copy and pasting first. And then when I move across, grain weight, put that up there. That is also continuous, decimal type. Move that across, and the last one, Hagberg, or I can just click there, I can just write it in, Hagberg. And remember, that is also continuous, and we're going to call that decimal data. Nearly there, we can make that disappear with the upward arrow, but notice we've still got this row that we don't want. So we have to right click and delete that row. Yes, we confirm that. And now the data is ready to go in the same format it was before. You can see it's a bit more onerous. If you had a big set of data with many columns, perhaps you've done an online survey and the JISC surveys or SurveyMonkey have given you lots and lots of columns, you would definitely use the CSV import. But when you've only got a small data set like this, I think the rewrite is okay. Anyway, 2 different ways to bring data in from Excel to Jamovi. Thank you for watching.